Well, we're doing a promo for the Bases at the Barge conference, and thank you very much, Ben.
You're welcome. Thank you, Miles.
It's a great privilege, and I'll edit this and we'll put it out. And for those watching on the radio channel, I am by coincidence wearing a MASH t-shirt. And the reason why I unearthed this is because it's 10 years since we did all that, and a lot of tears came out of it. But it's a good t-shirt, so I thought I'd bloody wear the damn thing. But I didn't know I was going to be doing this. So there's not a conspiracy about this, Ben.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was 10 whole years, Miles. That's quite something.
Yeah.
I remember, I think I was at your first event, yeah. But congratulations on that, and you're still doing things in your own way, even though...
Well, I've been doing it for 25 bloody years, Ben.
Exactly. And MASH is just a phase, it's over now, but, you know, you're doing the same thing, which is good.
Well, it was started by very good intentions with Dave Hodrian, who's going to be at the conference, David Griffin, and the beautiful Joanne Summerscales, and it all fell apart. There was a Channel 4 program which is now returned, which is on Truly, which is a ghastly, horrendous bloody thing on YouTube. But it's there, it's done. It was done 10 years ago, upwards of 9 years ago. Anyway, that's that.
No, I'm afraid, so if you're listening in the United States, I'm afraid it's available on your bloody Amazon Prime as well.
Is it?
Honestly, they got no damn taste.
Confessions of an Alien Abductee?
It is. Only if you're in the America, I think. It's
all right.
You can get it there. But onto more cheerful subjects, it looks as if, unless the aliens invade, or whether they're seen to invade, it's
Ben,
just your leaders in the sky.
That's another thing to talk about entirely. That's serious now.
It is indeed. I do take it seriously. But whatever, hopefully, all going well, we're going to have a conference. Now, the last conference I went to, you and I both went to it, was in February last year in Hull, the Rawcon. And I must say, Miles...
We were blown off our feet, absolutely blown to hell down those streets.
Oh, it's windy, wasn't it?
In a desolate Hull.
God, it was fun. And I tell you, Miles, I've missed them. And when you announced you were doing a new Bases project conference, I was just like, yippee, yeah.
Well,
yes, great.
The point about this, Ben, is that we're trying to actually have people in a hall doing something. I did a Bases 2020 last year, and we sort of just rushed it through, just got something done, and we did it all in the studio here, and that was marvelous. I think you and some other character called Colon.
That's what the
Colon was here. Yeah.
That's right, Colon.
Yeah, Colon was here, but I think we ended up calling him a semicolon now. Because he used to be called Half Day, and the only reason he was called Half Day is that this guy who was staying in my house when we did all the MASH stuff would come in, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and he'd been working furiously, really, really hard, and then he dropped in, and a very good friend of mine called Roger, who's going to be also at the conference, he said, Half Day must have come in. So the nickname has always been Half Day. So Colon, Ben, did I say something wrong there? So ever since then, he's been called, Colin Wolford has been called Half Day. Okay? So because of a certain individual, which you and I could never talk about, we goes into a hissy fit and a tantrum and starts suing everybody, unlike other people I know. And we're not going to talk about them either.
No, forget that.
He then became, when Colin came here, at the same time, I received a letter addressed to a person called Colon Woollyford. So colon referring to a part of the body, right? A lower attribute of the body. So that was a bit of a little kick from a gentleman we can't mention because he will say things. So then we then turned it around. Instead of calling Colin Wolford a half day, we then, God, this is tedious. We then decided to call him semicolon.
Oh, right.
That's it.
It fits, doesn't it?
So he goes from a colon, part of the body, and to two dots to, you know what I mean. Jesus, that was painful, Ben.
Maybe we should thank this certain litigious Greek gentleman for giving us
don't even go there. He'll know that. He'll sue. Don't talk about, no, really. You know who he is, and we know where you live.
Yeah. While we're on the subject, Miles, little point of order. You mentioned a certain airline a couple of minutes ago. Best to cut that out, seeing as
Oh yeah,
because of
I've
Colon's
no idea who the
employer.
hell you're talking about.
Colon's employer. Yeah. Anyway, Miles, it's
I
great.
thought he owned it actually.
Oh, well, you might get there one day. He'll be chairman of the board one day. Yeah. It's like he's been there long enough.
Yeah.
No. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to this because we've all been cooped up in our little rooms behind our screens, relying on modern technology for so long now. We're actually going to get out and, in the good old-fashioned way, meet people. I haven't met anyone apart from my family, my clients at work, and people like that now for about the best part of a year and a half. So the Bases at the Barge 2021. What's it all about?
Well, the main thing is it's trying to get an actual conference, but the other thing is the Barge Inn in Wiltshire in Honey Street has had this massive, wonderful oak built in the same way they built things in 1600, all wood put together with pegs, a beautifully bespoke, oak built building. And it's only ever housed the Crop Circle exhibition centre briefly on the ground floor. But there's a small section of the building was used by us, that's Bases Project, Bases at the Barge, the very first one, where James Casbolt turned up, and there was a heck of a controversy about that. We managed, this was in a very small annex in that building, but that whole building has never been allowed to be used. Now, because for one thing or another, so cutting a long story short, it's got new owners. They've refurbished the whole barge. There are actually 3 rooms in the barge building itself. There are also 3 luxury B&B bedrooms available in the new barn. And the barn ground floor went live with a gig last Saturday. That's a few days ago. And we now have a venue which is right in the middle of Crop Circle country. It's a beautiful setting. There's a big campsite. There's more parking. It's absolutely fantastic. The new owners have done a fantastic job. And I've been trying to get a conference in there since the building went up way back in 2013 or 14. So now that is available. And you're speaking at this thing as well. But the point is to have a 3-day conference. And we have to finish it no later than 8. It's kicking out times about 7:45 because they do gigs in there, and they're using the building finally they've got to maximize it. I mean, we've only back in the pubs a week or 2 weeks.
I know, but I've never seen this before. I'm honestly, thanks to Sir Matthew of Williamshire, he's put the pressure on things, and the barge it's not going to be an Italian restaurant. It is a proper pub like it used to be. And I've never seen this. I've not seen this yet, and I'm looking forward to it.
This is a big deal, and we need to support the barge and all the people who've put their hard work into that, and etc.
It's one of the nicest places in the world. I mean, the energy there is fantastic. It's honestly, you've got to go there. And you have 50 places in this. I mean, that's a lot, isn't it? 50 places.
We only knew how many. We have to be sitting at big round tables and 6 per table. So we've actually got, I think, 10 tables in there, but one of them's going to be used for the forum, for the thing at the end, what they call the bloody thing, Q&A or whatever the damn thing is, round table. So, but okay, it starts at 11. Which means it starts at 11, be there at 10:30, book your lunch, because we don't want to have a whole drawn-out lunch where people are getting dribs and drabs of bloody lunch coming in, for 2 or 3 hours. So get the lunch booked as soon as you come in. We're allowed 50, but we don't know, obviously, with the dynamics of all sorts of things, which if you mention, you get banned on YouTube immediately. They could let a lot more people in. There could be 150 people there if they just sat on seats. But we're only allowed 50, and if something can happen on the day and somebody turns up, so the tickets for this is on Eventbrite, and it's Bases 2021, all one word, Bases 2021 on Eventbrite. And a lot of the 3-day tickets are being sold already, but so that's good. Now, what we're doing with this conference is, Ben, we're going back to really, really important ancient history, 12,600 years ago. We're going back to before the earth tilted. Now, there's a wonderful grand gentleman called Edmund Marriage, and he has compiled, he'll be compiling a dedicated presentation for this conference. Now, the point about this is it's going to be recorded for television for his series on ancient man. Now, the whole point about this goes way back to a lot of the characters in the Bible, a lot of the originals. This is before the Sumerian writings and Zechariah Sitchin and all this. This is when a comet fragments hit the earth and all hell broke loose. And then subsequently after that, all the megaliths, all the standing stones were installed to recalibrate the earth to the star systems for the new earth as it was then. And that could only have been done by extremely intelligent, extremely advanced, highly evolved and technically capable humans who were basically trying to recover from a massively catastrophic event in the solar system, of which Earth and possibly several of the other planets took a big hit. So he's going to be doing a dedicated thing on a Friday on that. And now we have, on the Friday, he will be doing 2 of those presentations. And then Maria Wheatley, the beautiful Maria Wheatley, she's having a bit of a squeeze with a prominent individual who's involved with crop circles.
Oh, well,
anyway,
I'm sure she'll tell us all about that. Yeah. She's got a double bill, I see.
They both got double bills.
Oh, yeah.
But the main thing is that what Maria explained to me when we did a little bit of a promo for her new book, she said, everything I told you in book 1 about Stonehenge, forget it. There is such new stuff about Stonehenge, and it seems there is a similar baby, a similar star child that Lloyd Pye was investigating. Again, that was all 10 years ago. He died almost 10 years ago. So, the Yucatan Peninsula was where the Lloyd Pye strange being was. And Maria Wheatley's talking about something similar right here with the long-skulled people in the graves in Wiltshire here.
That's pretty incredible, because I've heard about this, and she actually went all the way to Oxford to here where I am to try and find some of them.
She went to a real university, it's a real one, proper one.
Although people aren't very interested in it, because when she had to sign the book to view these skulls, and the last entry was in 1928. That's how much time has been wasted in this research project, or how much has been suppressed. Suppressed, correct? Yeah. It's amazing.
And then the other fine lady is Jane Shattuck, and she's going to finish the day on the Friday. Wise words from her.
Yep, she's an interesting lady. She's a lovely, well-spoken lady who's very intelligent.
More well-spoken than the bloody Queen. Colin.
Oh yeah, and you're really going to town here, because it's a 3-day event, and we should mention before we go on. Just want to say a few words. You have a very good MC. Now, being MCs, I've done it a couple of times, and I've always liked this lady, and she's had to keep a low profile until now. But who is this? This one of there's 2 MCs, but
I think Gemma Cooper. Now, apparently, she has got some. We can't say anything about who she worked for, but have I got down a level or something? Gemma has got somewhat of experience using microphones and things. So I thought, maybe she'd be able to sort of try things out and see if she could be an MC for the conference. So we've to have a very informed and deep discussion about the speakers, and then she will. It means that I have another pair of hands to get on with bloody things like keeping camera 3 in focus or something, and that sort of thing. So she's going to MC it, and a really fantastic new talent, Jenny Rodriguez. I think we're going to sort of see how they sort of chop and change, but the idea is that maybe Jenny might do the round tables. Really, Gemma, just to see how the whole spice works together. But Jenny was the first time at these conferences, I try to break new talent, get a new person. So Jenny did something really good last year. She came up with a completely different approach to the whole coronavirus thing. So she's come up with something pretty hot about super soldiers and Max and all that stuff. So I haven't a clue what she's going to show, but we'll see it at the time. And she's a very fine girl, 23-year-old now. And so this brings in young people, young attitude boosts. I mean, I've lost my hair color, and you don't have any hair, so we don't know what. Anyway,
who knows? I forgot. I don't know what my hair color is now. Yeah.
So Gemma is now in the public domain, and we'll let her say what she's going to say on that. I think she's appearing with David Icke or the Patrick. What do you call him? Richie Allen show.
Richie Allen show. But yeah, she's got a story to tell. We'll let her tell it herself. But I've known her for a long time. She's been keeping a low profile.
Yeah, she's been. I mean, we know her a long time, Ben. But this is the first time that she can come clean in the public domain. And let's give her a big round of applause for brave Gemma, because she's taken a heck of a kicking in the press, and she's with us, and good luck to her.
Yeah. Now, Now, what happens on Saturday? Because it is a 3-day event. It begins with Roger and Rosemary. Now, are these the Roger and Rosemary I think they are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some Kiwi and some Scotch woman from up north somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Now, the point about these is that what I try to do with these conferences is keep it a broad church of subjects. So we've gone from ancient history, and Jane's going to be talking about the elevated, higher, shiny ones that her mother was visited by, and she's talking about all that sort of stuff because her mother was told that what's happening now is going to happen. The way things are going now is happening now. So that was way back in the 80s. So with the beautiful Caroline, we introduced a thing called pyrolysis. And this is a separate process. It's not a reaction. It's actual pyrolysis. Is a means by how you can take plastics and revert them back into the oil they were made from.
Oh, I see.
Now, that was fine.
That's very useful.
That's extremely useful. Now, the point about it is a lot of processes that do that involve a lot of heat and pollution and stuff. But there is... Roger and Rosemary are dealing with Far East companies in Thailand and things, and they've been developing these massive pyrolysis machines which take metric tons of plastic piled into it, and out comes, it's a closed cycle machine, so there's no vapor or toxic gases, no burning of anything. So you just get all this biological material. You can use it for all sorts of biological material, but in this, or organic material, using organic chemistry. So this is where, this is industrial, proper, huge, massive machines to produce real, usable, thousands and thousands of litres of what's called or classified under the EU regulations, biofuel. So all that plastic you see can be literally loaded with bulldozers into a big machine, which goes cluncher. Maybe it does something a bit more. Would you know how it goes, Ben? Could you say?
I know it has like a. I've seen these things before. I mean, I didn't know they worked on plastic, but I mean, but it is a brilliant thing to do with all the plastic rubbish in the world, because plastic waste is a real problem now. It doesn't break down.
This is a solution. This is a solution to that problem.
Gets into the waterways, gets into the sea. Yeah,
and this is literally, you could have a ship with big jaws on the front, sucking it all up, and then the ship is actually run on the fuel from the plastic.
That's there's actually a young Dutch lad, actually. I think he's a schoolboy. He's invented a machine which picks up the plastic from the sea. This is on industrial huge scales, because up to 5% of EU oil has to be biofuel now. So there's a market for this. Now, with a lot of people say, well, we shouldn't be using oil at all, but we've got the plastic. This is a way of using it. Yeah, well, we're transitioning to a free energy.
Yeah, but we're not using. We're using extremely. We're using extremely polluting and extremely toxic lead, very, very bad, difficult and dangerous batteries, which when they go on fire, they produce nucleotides. They're extremely toxic and very difficult to get. They're harder to deal with than nuclear waste.
Yep.
So these electric cars are really a complete con. And where do they get the electricity from? They get it from coal-fired power stations, because this wind power is a complete con as well. And as at last year in 2020, we did have a guy down in Port Plymouth, you know, where UK Column is.
Yeah.
And this guy had found the patents that Tesla had to create a turbine using spinning discs, which takes its fuel is the moisture in the air.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. I mean, I personally think there's nothing as a temporary stopover before we transition to free energy. Biofuels is a good interim. So we stop the pollution, we stop the toxic waste, we stop the particulates, and we clear up this damn plastic that's everywhere.
Well, I think this is the point. We've got to be realistic. People have to make money. The corporations are there. So if they're able to use a big gluncher machine or pyrolysis reactor, these huge things which can use things on industrial levels, that's a big deal.
It'd be great to see them get those two again. They're a lovely couple.
Now, the next bunch of people are a bit of a shifty load, you know.
Oh, no.
You got some guy called Dave Hodrian. And he's some guy of a guy. He's another slaphead like you.
I was thinking the ball.
Obviously,
back, aren't we?
Obviously, Ben, I'm not a slaphead.
You're sort of halfway there, Miles. Yeah. You need to work on your back and sides a bit.
Yes. Yeah.
But he's an interesting chap, isn't he?
And he's coming down. I've said new cases, Ben. I don't want any bloody bent waters. I don't want any bloody Roswell. There's a hell on earth happening right now with UFOs. So maybe by the time that happens in July, with all this stuff happening in the last week about is it UTIP or what do you call it? ATIP.
Yeah, the UAP.
And the Dark Journalist's done an extremely deep exposure on what a bunch of CIA crap that is.
We've got to be on our guard against all kinds of things, because there's supposed to be a report released next month at the time of recording, and that could contain anything. By the time this conference comes along, we will know what's in that report, hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
we'll know
hopefully Dave Hodrian, who's going to bring in new cases, and some guy called Ben Emlyn Jones.
Oh, Ben Emlyn, yeah, that's
Ben Emlyn Jones.
Spelling, yeah.
Is that an
Andrew Johnson calls me?
Is that right? Oh, so I'm not original about mispronouncing your name.
Yeah.
Ben Emlyn Jones and some other
Ben
trouble.
Emily.
Oh, Ben Emily. Oh.
That's how he always thinks my name's Ben Emily, bless her.
I don't even want to mention that name. Oh. Jesus Christ. Now, there's another character which you know, I think, from up in Manchester called Jay Austen.
Yeah, it's his debut appearance. He's never been seen on stage before. But I know him well. He's a very, very prolific field researcher and commentator, and he's been working on social media and blogging, things like that, for a long time. So it'll be very interesting to do this. It's basically we're going to be doing a dialogue, and the content of that, because you want brand new information, and we're going to provide you with brand new information, and the listeners are going to get, and the conference delegates are going to get that. We're going to have to work together to sort of put together a nice little dialogue, and it'll contain information maybe that we ourselves don't know yet. My God.
Well, I think again, I like to try and introduce new talent, so it's really good that you're able to sort of put Jay under your wing, and oh God help him, Ben, if he's sorry. Terrible, Ben.
I want to squeeze too hard when I do
Ben,
that.
It's terrible.
By the way, I should mention, let me just mention something about Dave Hodrian. He's actually invented a UFO-based card game called UFO Wave, and it's going to be launched soon. And I'll tell you what, it looks really good.
Well,
it's
that's
got great
brilliant.
artwork on it. Yeah.
Well, tell us more.
We can play it. Well, he'll tell you more on the day, but I mean, he's got a website set up and he's got a Facebook group, and he's did an interview with me about it on her Panlo Radio. But this game, I don't know exactly how it works. It seems like it's got a set of rules. You've got cards, and you've got a playing mat and things like that. It's basically the sort of thing that people like us, tinfoil hatters and sky watchers, can sit around the table playing, and it's sort of like it's our kind of thing. So
I think that's bloody good fun.
Yeah, hopefully he'll tell us a bit more about it.
Now, Ben, you did mention tinfoil hatters. So this is a John Lear approved proper tinfoil hat, because if it isn't approved by John Lear, it's just not worth having.
Oh, John, I hope you appreciate
And
what we're
some
doing.
upstart of a Area 51 whistleblower, what's his name? Way back in 1989, he thought he worked there.
Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar, yeah. Bob Lazar, I think, has formally tested the John Lear tinfoil hat, and John Lear, of course, has got a sticker on it, which means it's approved and it works.
That's good. Well, I'll tell you what, I want mine. I'll tell you, I've been making one out of aluminium foil from the supermarket. It won't do. I want the John Lear one.
Well, obviously, it couldn't possibly work properly. It hasn't been properly tested by Bob Lazar. I mean, now there's another guy. I started life in Northern Ireland doing I was regional investigations coordinator for Bufora way back in the 70s. That's before you were born.
It's amazing, that's how long you've been doing this. I mean, you've really made it your life's work.
Well, it just happened to have wasted hanging about. In television, we always say, one day I'll get a real job. Anyway, so we did all that, and then we joined there's a southern group, and we then call it the Irish UFO Research Centre and all that. Then I went and got a job, and then got into pirate radio and getting a career and all that stuff. But there is a very good and brilliant team of people in Belfast. Now, they were actually featured on a BBC Northern Ireland documentary. It's a UFO awareness. So what's the name of the Manchester conference?
Oh, it's a lovely conference. What's it called?
Well, exactly. It's got a vague.
But it's,
there's talk it will be arriving this year. Is it UFO awareness?
I'll find out.
It's too much of a wishy-washy title. You don't know what the hell it really is.
It's amazing but I will just check out. But if it's coming back, that's absolutely fantastic.
I understand that conference is going to do trying to come back this summer.
Oh, well,
will you have a look at that? Now, the point is that there's one of the team there in Belfast called
Awakening.
Michael. What UFO Awakening?
It's called Awakening. It's just
the Awakening. Okay. Well, from what I gather, that conference is happening this year.
Brilliant.
But I don't know. I think they only announced that about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, right. Well,
so, but Michael, so they were actually featured at that conference, I think 3 years ago, and Gemma was there as well, and the BBC Northern Ireland did a very good analysis of that. And there's a guy there called Emlyn Jones. Now, he had an extraordinary encounter in Northern Ireland in broad bloody daylight around about I think it was 2010. I'm not sure, but it was. He was driving down the road, broad daylight, sunshine, down the Tanny-Oakey Road on the south of Armagh, the county of Armagh, and in broad daylight, he meets an alien walking down the road in Northern Ireland, broad daylight, blue sky. And he has a whole case, and he'll be talking about that, hopefully, at Kerry Cassidy's conference, which is the week before. And that's up at High Elms Manor, the UFO Academy. So they're really good people up there. And hopefully their conference will happen the week before. That's the first weekend of July. And if that is happening, Kerry Cassidy will correspondingly be at my conference, and I'm speaking at her conference. And there's some other guy called Tony Topping.
Tony. Yeah.
He'll be there. But before I get off subject, there's one of the guys in the in UFO Investigations Ireland. There's a guy called Michael Spate, and that's Speight, and they've done some really heavy research in Northern Ireland. There's another brilliant woman called Yvonne McConnell, and they have done some really deep work over there in Ireland. And obviously there's the Dermot Butler and what's his name?
Carl Nally.
Carl Nally have published a book, and in that book they even mention the UFO group that I was involved with, the Irish UFO Research thing and all that. There's a couple of pages of that. But there's one farm in Northern Ireland, in County Tyrone, which has had 200 animal mutilations One farm alone. So there is some absolutely amazing stuff. So I'm hoping to get Michael Spite. Now he'll be on Skype, but Skype at a conference doesn't really work too well because it's somebody on a screen. So we'll have him for about half an hour, and then that'll be followed with Tony Topping doing part one. And Tony Topping has had some really heavy duty experiences, and he'll be doing 2 presentations. And his stuff is really heavy duty, Ben.
Yeah, he's actually about to publish a book, like an autobiography, which what's it called? I can't remember what the title is. He'll tell you all about it anyway. But I mean, it looks really good.
So he's speaking on the Saturday and the Sunday, and this is when we are going to what I call Bases Actual. This is actual witness, an actual witness speaking about her actual experience. And she's a beautiful woman, but she was at the same school as James Casbolt. She lived in Reading, and her origins are, now her experience is horrific.
Is this now
she was born on the baby farms of Africa. So there are baby farms in Africa for the human trafficking and all that. And she did report it to the UK column and also to David Icke years ago. But because she got threatened with the SS, and I use that set of initials deliberately, and they were going to take all her children away because this couldn't possibly happen. But this brings into the whole frame of these underground tunnels about Peasmore, which is what Bases 1 was all about way back in 1984. And that is why I've called Sophia Bases 1 part 3. And she's got some absolutely horrific stuff to tell us. And it backs up James Casbolt stuff, which was all reported to the police and basically shelved. Now, after that, in the evening, we're going to have Bases Actual Red Hot. Now, this is going to be Duncan Davis and St. Nicholas are going to be on stage to talk about the TikTok videos. Now, the TikTok videos is active psychic warfare in active warfare domain. And we are in a war, and they are doing this stuff against these people, and it's the TikTok stuff is about saving humanity. And I'm going to explain all that, and I'm going to say that where the barge is, there are Rothschilds around, and if anybody wants to have open dialogue on this, I'm all for having a conversation about
I heard
this.
that TikTok is, I know Chinese intelligence use TikTok.
Yes, it is. It is a Chinese intelligence operative in the same way that the CIA and YouTube and Google are all financed by deep state, the relative dark state stuff. And there's no two ways about it. And these big corporations have been financed, printing money to make them work and produce the resources that the thousands of servers all over the world. So, and there are some very interesting videos from very good investigative journalists who join all the dots on a lot of this. Well, I think they're still available on YouTube. So that'll be Duncan Davis and St. Nicholas will be there, and they're going to be explaining what the hell's going on. And that brings in Tim Refat, and Tony Topping was trained by Tim Refat. Oh, right. So Tony Topping's, Tony Topping's, Tim Refat did a lot of remote viewing training, and Tony was involved with that. So nothing controversial happening here, Ben.
Oh no, nothing of the sort. No, I mean
nothing controversial.
Controversy is something you never do, Miles. I'm sure.
No, mild-mannered people just meeting in Wiltshire on a sunny day in a pouring rain.
Yeah, but hopefully it won't be. Well, it's Britain. You never know what the weather's going to be like, but it'll be fun. No, regardless, it'll be fun regardless. Yeah. But there's Celestial Paladin as well. That's a great.
Yeah, Celestial Paladin is the official title given to Duncan Davis.
Right.
because in their rank of the issues involved with psychic warfare and complex number space. And this is what the Masons are all into, all the black and white squares. It's all about alternating space in flipping from one thing to another 90 degrees. And complex number space is where it's at. Some people would call that the astral, but it's a very big deal, and complex number space is what it's all about. It's a 1+1 sum game. So that's all for them. So there's an opportunity to see them in the flesh, and St. Nicholas, who has asked to be on the conference, so they've asked to come in and explain that.
Well, it sounds complicated, but they will explain it. If you wonder what these numbers mean and things like that, it's you have to listen to the whole thing. There are no soundbite answers to the kind of subjects Miles discusses at the conferences and his speakers discuss. So you have to come along and find out.
Well, basically, sort of wheel somebody on stage and then run off somewhere and wait for something to happen. Yeah,
we just sort of sit there and go. But it'll be cool. But then on Sunday. Again, get here 10:30. Order your lunches for when you get there on a Sunday. But this is going to carry on. It's going to carry on right through the Sunday. We've got a really great list of speakers.
So Julie Phelps is going to talk about RAF Space Command and how to survive this whole mess that we're in.
That's interesting because the US has just set up its own space force.
Yeah.
And
well, the UK announced the RAF Space Command on. When would the UK announce a space command, Ben?
I honestly, I imagine it was. I don't know exactly when.
If you're going to announce to the world that Britain's got a space command, what date would you want to choose, which would give it maximum credibility and make everybody believe that they've actually done it? What date would that be, Ben?
I think it would be the first moon landing, allegedly.
No, they announced it the 1st of April this year.
Oh, I see. Oh my goodness me, they're messing with us.
And they announced it 10 minutes before April Fool's Day is technically over. I think they uploaded the thing onto their website at 11:56 or some bloody time. So whether this UK Space Command, which is going to be held, it's going to be centred and physically located at the RAF Space Command, or RAF, place. Important place. So there it is. So they choose April Fool's Day to announce. Now, I have approached the Ministry of Defence on this, Ben. I need to get your name right.
It is Ben.
Ben Emlyn.
Ben Emlyn Jones. You haven't put the hyphen in, but you've spelt it right. That's
flip me, enough. Jesus, yeah, God.
Close enough.
So I have asked the MOD to give, because obviously Nick Pope is busy in America, and so
allegedly.
Sorry, did you say Nick Dope? No, that's rude. That's rude.
Yeah, who knows what Nick Pope the Dope is doing? I mean, he's supposedly doing one thing or another, but I mean,
well, he's interviewed. He's been interviewed by people. Yeah, 60 Minutes and all that in the United States, talking about all this UTIP, or what do you call it, UKIP?
UAPTF, yeah. But who's he really working for? Hey, Nick, come on.
Well, he's married to a nice girl in America and doing very nicely, thank you. But he's less embarrassing on TV than certain British ufologists who go on talking about things.
Well, but yeah, just bear. I say, listen to what the man has to say, but just bear in mind, you don't have to accept everything he says.
Well, I think he said a few things more credible than a lot of British ufologists have, to give Nick his blessing.
Some, yeah.
Well, the beautiful Joanne and I, we said when we did the AMASH program, we are not going to have Nick Pope on that program. If it is, we're going to walk out in a hissy fit in a tantrum. So what happened? They cut out about 10 minutes of what we'd all done and stuck Nick Pope in on that program. That was not meant to be there.
It was bloody awful, I remember. Yeah. But
and he didn't even know where he was. They never even told him.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't mind. But we're reaching an important point in the UFO conference circuit. You can actually have UFO conferences and not have Nick Pope. He used to be kind of hot. He used to be a sort of omnipresence. He was the guy.
Well, I remember he stayed in a flat at the Exopolitics conference run by the great what do you call them? The two brothers, the twins.
Oh yes,
Excellent.
Tony and Anthony and I forgot the other
Yeah,
one
they
there,
did. They
but,
brilliant. They had everybody over. They had
Beckett,
all the
Nancy Beckett.
yeah. They had Richard Dolan and all the American guys. What's his Steve Bassett.
Steve
Richard Hoagland. They had all those people over. That was a big deal.
It was fantastic. I remember you found a way to a pub. You sort of smelled your way to a pub, and we followed you. And then Nick Pope got drunk, and he was all covered in green.
No, all he did was just smell the cork left over by Richard Dolan. But that's a shocking thing to say, Ben. You shouldn't have said that.
There was these green lights. There was a kebab emporium outside or something like that. And there was green neon lights shining in his face. He leaned towards me like this with green light all over his face, and he was pissed out. He was drunk out of his brain, and he was going like this. Ben, do you know where I've been today, Ben? I've been to BBC Manchester. I put a new program plan to them. It's like Celebrity Get Me Out of Here, but we've got to work out who the real alien abductees are. Do you think it's a good idea, Ben? Do you think they'll ever put it on TV? And I thought, Nick, so he was on his fourth or fifth pint by then. We were still on our first.
Well, Ben, I think that's an eminently good idea, and I think you should have taken that forward and moved on with it, because, as you know, I did go back to the BBC in 2010 and 11 and actually closed down BBC Manchester. Maybe it's because Nick Pope went there to propose that idea that I was brought in to shut the BBC Manchester studio down. Shut it down.
I thought it was a bit, even by the BBC standards, I thought Nick's idea was a bit tacky. But there you go.
I think he was going to do a play with the beautiful Joanne, wasn't he? There's going to be some. She was trying to get a theatre, a stage thing done. Anyway, another one of your friends, Michael. Sorry.
I'm Ben.
Ben.
Michael,
Ben is your favourite person called Michael Shrimpton.
Did it.
The Germans, the DVD. Well, he's going to talk about coronavirus and how the mishandling of the whole thing has resulted in millions of deaths, unnecessary deaths. So we'll have to see what he has to say on that. He'll be after dinner on the Sunday.
So why did the Germans inflict the coronavirus on the world then?
It's the Cabinet Office. The key to it is that the Cabinet Office, i.e. our government, is controlled by DVD agents, and they are determined to destroy the British economy, which is why they're doing all these lockdowns. It's nothing to do with Project Operation Lockstep and the Rockefeller Foundation report of 2010, which you're not allowed to mention, otherwise you'll get banned.
Well, if you don't want to get banned, you can go to the conference and you can listen to Michael Shrimpton tell you himself. Fascinating chap.
Yeah. And after that, we're going to have we're going to try and do a live with Dr. Richard Fleming. Do you know who Dr. Richard Fleming is, Ben?
Rings a bell, yeah.
Ben, is that green goo that you got, or what? What is it?
It's actually cordial. It's just like
it's not the stuff. It's not the stuff that Nick Pope was drinking, was it?
I hope not, because I don't want to end up like him. No, absolutely not. That's
Ben. Ben, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, Ben. You know what I'm going to say, Ben. I think Nick Pope definitely doesn't want to end up like you, and I think you definitely don't want to end up like Nick Pope. I think both of you would agree on that.
Thank goodness we are who we are and not each other. That's all I can say.
God, I got myself out of jail on that one. Dr. Richard Fleming, I've done a 2-hour and 35-minute extremely detailed thing on SARS-CoV-2, which is the actual man-made, manufactured virus that was made. He's done an extremely detailed technical thing on this, and this is the point about these masterclasses. If you're going to come up with something which is really important, you can't edit it. You've got to come up with all the facts, line up all the information in a row, and come up with hard, provable information. And that's what we did, and it's still on my backup Bases channel. And that is a really serious, heavy-duty thing, workshop, a masterclass on the whole SARS-2 CV2. It's this COVID-19 thing. Is actually the virus is SARS-VC2, I think it is.
Right,
That's the technical name for it. So he does a very technical thing, and come Sunday, he is going to give us new stuff on that July 11th afternoon about what the hell's going on, because this is I Never Got Tony Topping Part 2, and the very lovely Kerry Cassidy.
Oh, right. Do you think, I mean, will she actually be there?
We won't know, and we won't know. She won't do a Skype. If she's not physically here, we'll let Tony Topping rattle on, or let Julie Phelps has got a lot to say, so we'll know then. I mean, Julie Phelps, just to let people know, is actively in the secret space program stuff.
Yeah,
she's an active participant, and her duties down in the tunnels were so upsetting for her last year that she just had to pull out. About 18 months ago.
I remember her from a previous conference. She's quite new on the scene, but she's very, very interesting, and she has an awful lot to say.
Yeah, which is what I want to do. I want to bring new people and also mix it with the old, which is why, Dave, you, Ben, and Jay, it's a big responsibility, Ben, that, you're the one who's really bringing this in, and you got Dave. You and Dave have got a major responsibility on your shoulders to bring this serious new information towards the general public. So I'm totally counting on you to do this thing, Ben. And there's no pressure.
Of course not. I will.
I can see the pressure here is just completely. I can see the sweat pouring off you with stress about this. So anyway, that's that. And the idea is to have a round table at each day, and we have
Jenny. You got Jenny Rodriguez is doing a talk.
Yeah, yes, Jenny. Sorry, she's not on this bloody list. This is an out of date list. Jenny is speaking on the Sunday, I think, and she has got she's speaking the Sunday, and she's got a really she's been working. She's a smart girl. And so I'd be very interested to see what she has to say about this whole thing. She's got a different angle on things, fresh look at things. And that's what I want to encourage, is to bring fresh young talent, new people, and push the boat out. After all, Max Spears first spoke at a Bases at the Barge, except it was a Coronation Hall. And also his lovely girlfriend at the time, who I won't mention, but they spoke there the first time in public domain. And now I think... She's spoken at the latest UFO megacon in the States, I think. Has that happened?
I think they did, yes.
Just last week or something?
Well, I think Taj and her were doing some sort of event live, I think, yeah.
In megacon in Laughlin.
I think that was actually live, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a major conference, because
they were there. They were there, yeah. But,
so
it looks like the circuit is reopening slowly but surely.
Well, in America they are. I mean, a friend of mine's been in Cancun in Mexico for having a holiday.
Oh, nice.
We're not allowed to do a bloody thing, but we better not talk about that. Essentially, that's it, Ben. And then if we do, the barge is notoriously bad for internet. Now, they have got new internet stuff there. That's one of the things. They've also got, I think, 4G on the phone. You can pick it up on the phone. Even mobile phone signals there were really bad. So it looks as if they've been brought into electric light and everything. And so we'll see. If we don't have a strong internet, we will not be able to do Dr. Richard Fleming live. I'll be pre-recording the two other... There's two other... Oh, there's... I hope to have Deborah Hatswell, but maybe that's just too much.
Oh, right. Now, if you get her, that brings in the cryptozoological element, because she studies the Bigfoot, especially as there are Bigfoot sightings. Not a lot of people know this. Bigfoot sightings are not confined to North America.
Yeah, a lot happening. Yeah, and the other very lovely girl, what's her name, spoke about that at Awaken Aware and Probe as well. Very long-winded name, about 15 different syllables in it.
British Bigfoot.
Yeah, British Bigfoot and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. She was interviewed by the beautiful Caroline as well at Awaken Aware, which is Kerry's conference. But we'll see if Kerry's conference happens. If her conference is going to happen, if she's booked a ticket to come here, and obviously it's all down to the COVID things, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, according to the schedule, this conference will be after the 21st of June, and so far as we know that they're saying the 21st of June is going to be the end of the restrictions.
No, it isn't, and that's why
No.
the interview I did with Kerry was banned, because way back in November, when it worked, whenever the hell that interview was, I knew by just simply looking at the way things work. That come around the end of June, that you would be having all these new things happening. And that's exactly what's happened. And I've seen the figures on the variants exploding in every country in the world, absolutely rocketing up. Every country that's vaccinated are producing different variants based on the DNA and the structure of the vaccine that they had. The variants are exploding, vertical climb in all around the world that have got have extremely high percentage, and so that's why they're locking us down here, so that we can't go anywhere. So that the variant that we produce, they need to analyze to see how well we have been infected by this thing. But I'm probably said enough to get banned already, so I don't know.
Well, we've just got to hope for the best, Miles. Just hope for the best. But you know what? This conference, I've been to many of your conferences, and also many of them at the Barge, and I've got to say they are great fun. They are absolutely.
Well, the idea is to have a good time, spend lots
yeah.
of money in the bar. There's a campsite there. You can book there with the Barge itself. The Barge in Honey Street is their website, and go and book there, drink lots, enjoy yourselves, have a great time. There's music on in the evening on the Saturday, which is why we must be out of the area by 8 o'clock at the latest. We cannot overrun. So it's going to be a short, sharp 3 days.
But that campsite is absolutely fantastic. I mean, there's such a great atmosphere. People get in their tents there and they have a wonderful time. I mean, I'll be sleeping on Miles's wood pile as usual, so I won't be at the campsite, but I'll be there.
Well, I don't know. I've got the beautiful Gemma staying here with the beautiful Jane. So I think you'll be. The hedgehog lives under the wood pile, Ben.
Oh right. Well,
you're going to be pushing the hedgehog out.
No, the hedgehog has to come first. I'll have to just kip down behind the shed.
Oh, you could just lie down on the sofa.
Maybe that'd be all right. Yeah, but it's such a good atmosphere there. I can vouch for someone who's a regular attendee. They're so good fun. Just meeting everyone and being with everyone and not having to, just be with people who understand you. You can actually sit there and talk about UFOs and things, and people won't laugh at you. It's an absolutely intoxicating.
Well, Ben, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Well, they still laugh at me sometimes for other reasons. But
well, the point is, Ben, a lot of the subjects we're talking about are such incredibly serious, God-forsaken, bloody topics. So I tried to put a bit of humour in it.
You have to.
Whatever.
Because otherwise you're going to... Honestly...
Ben, I noticed that I thought that all that electricity was your auric field. But it's actually a picture of a Tesla tower.
It is the Wardenclyffe Tower, which was demolished in 1917. It was very, very sad that it was done. But I've decided to make it my Skype background because I'm such a Tesla
Well, I thought
fan.
it was your auric field, Ben. It was coming out of your mind.
It is kind of a bit of both, really. That's why I quite like it. I quite like it. It suits me. Miles, I can't wait for this. I'm absolutely, really.
Yeah, but the tickets are Eventbrite. Eventbrite.com, and you go for Bases 2021. It's all one word, no space. Bases 2021. There is a link which is about 3 miles long, which is probably easy just to search for. There are very limited tickets.
50 people. I'll tell you what. If you're listening to this on her Panwell Radio, just go to the show notes and you'll see a link to that page, so you can actually order a ticket.
And as I say, at the last minute, the whole thing could be locked down. It's not going to happen. So you can get your money back, but you will have to. You'll lose the fees. Eventbrite charges some pretty hefty fees.
There are no guarantees. There are no guarantees.
We're just going to do what we can, get something out of the way, and everybody's invited. But.
If it goes ahead and you don't go because you think it might be cancelled, well, you'll be kicking yourselves. You really will be kicking yourselves because it'll be bloody fantastic.
And it's everybody sitting down at big tables eating lovely food from the barge.
in one of the nicest locations I've ever been to in the world.
It's a wonderful place. Wonderful place. And we could do, maybe depending on things, we might be able to do a sky watch up at Knapp Hill or whatever. I know David Griffin did that the second time we held a conference in Marlborough, and there is a lot of stuff up there.
We saw orange lights and yellow lights and things, and not in the direction of Salisbury Plain either.
I'm not talking about those parachute flares that they use when they're training.
No, these were actual weird things, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, weather permitting, that'll be, I think, a situation. But some people will end up there. But, Miles, it's really, 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 really great you're setting this up. I'm sure most people, if anyone's like me, get along there, get your ticket while you still can. Cause
it's 20 quid a day or 50 quid for the weekend. The Friday is really seriously heavy stuff. This is important academic stuff. People have got to understand what happened 12,600 years ago. They've got to understand that this is happening. This is relevant right now. All the stuff on the Bibles and the various books of Enoch and all that stuff is dwarfed by the information they're getting about what happened all those years ago. And
it's ancient history and everything on Friday.
It's extremely relevant to what's happening right now.
The past controls the present, controls the future. It was all well said. That's right.
And there is a new book coming out by Simon Miles about René Le Chateau, and that is rocket fuel.
Oh, right. I thought that had been done to death.
No. You have no idea.
Right.
Simon Miles has 20 years of research on that, and that's real rocket fuel. His book is just going to assume that you've already read all the other stuff and just take it on from there. It's
fantastic.
That's a massive work, and Simon Miles has done a really excellent lecture on crop circles for Sky High Creations, which are the wonderful Dutch people. They do 2 lectures a month now, and Andy Thomas was on their site on a Zoom on Saturday talking about the whole conspiracy things. But they've done Simon Miles first developed his theory on the crop circles. It doesn't matter who's made them, but the linkages and the intricate ways that they connect over years, they connect and make bigger patterns. That even the circle makers, you go out and make this stuff, didn't know that.
Oh, that's got to be great.
So that was at Bases 2015. So he's now, what he's done is
brilliant,
exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, was he the guy who talks about farms and things like that and growing?
No, that was Dave Harvey.
Right,
and he's a writer for the Archers, or was a writer for the Archers, and he was in concluding that the way that agriculture has been industrialized, I was going to say militarized, the way he's talking about stuff, the way that agriculture has been taken over since the war, actively during the war, the institutions were put in place during the war, is to progressively demineralize and render destitute all the fertile food baskets of the world by the industrial process involving farming. That is by design over the last 70 years.
Well, Miles, that's something that's actually I remember very, very well indeed. That was a great conference. All these conferences are brilliant. Please do come along to them. If you're listening on the Hapamo show, go to the link in the show notes. If you're listening on the Bases Project, Miles, I'm sure we'll include the link. And if you are watching on the Bases Project, thank you very much for watching, and thank you, Miles, for having me on your show. Do come over and say hello. I know a few listeners are going to be there, so come over.
You could get in, but if you can't, just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Anyway, Miles, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Very soon. Greatly appreciate it. All the best. Thank you.
And cut.